Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another brand new video. I hope you guys are all doing well. So good morning to all of you guys that are in fact watching this video right now. It's currently literally almost 5 in the morning and I'm filming this video because a fair few things are in fact happening for Bitcoin right now and I really want to talk about it. So you guys can clearly see Bitcoin is still at $30,000. Now you guys can clearly see just a few hours ago, right? Literally just a few hours ago, right? We actually saw Bitcoin, okay, having this beautiful pump right back up to $31,000. You guys can just clearly see that went all the way up to around 31,200, right? So once again, okay, we saw Bitcoin touch $31,000, okay, once again, okay, and you guys can clearly see right now Bitcoin did in fact have this pretty massive rejection back down to 30K, okay, and you guys are probably wondering, why is Bitcoin having this rejection back down, right? So obviously someone did in fact sell off Bitcoin, okay, and this is why, right? This is why, guys, we saw Bitcoin drop. So the SEC says spot Bitcoin filings are inadequate. Okay, so this came out. Okay, so pretty much the SEC is saying that they are not ready to approve for, filings for, Bitcoin ETFs, right? We know a fair few institutions like BlackRock and Fidelity are in fact, filing for, pretty much Bitcoin ETFs. They're becoming crypto pro, right? And we know a fair few institutions, I talked about this many times in my previous videos, right, and in my streams, that a fair few institutions are in fact coming not just into Bitcoin but into crypto. And it seems like the SEC is saying that as of right now, they are not approving these filings, right, for Bitcoin ETFs and whatnot. And that's why, guys, we are in fact seeing Bitcoin having this drop. But once again, okay, this is just another buying opportunity, right? Seeing Bitcoin drop back down to $30,000 once again, right? It's another buying opportunity, guys, right? So this is nothing too crazy, okay? I just really do believe that they are just spreading, all this nonsense, right, with the SEC, saying, spot Bitcoin filings are inadequate and whatnot, okay? This is nothing too crazy, guys, right? We all should be bullish. I don't think we should be very, bearish with Bitcoin with this type of news because it's nothing too crazy. You know what I mean? It really isn't. Bitcoin is still holding up very well, and trust me, Bitcoin's going to recover, right? It's going to easily bounce back up to $31,000 and bounce back up to 32K. And I told you guys many times, once Bitcoin actually breaks above $32,000, I think that's when the next rally will in fact continue. So Bitcoin right now is currently at 30,400. So it's still holding up very well at $30,000. Okay, for the past few days, you guys can clearly see that. And when I actually saw this last night, a couple of hours ago, I really thought, right, I was just looking at the charts on my phone, and I really thought that we will in fact see Bitcoin, right, actually continue bounce to the upside. But no, the news came out with this. Okay, the SEC, pretty much rejecting, the Bitcoin filings, right? So that's that. So as of right now, yes, the SEC is not going to go ahead and just approve it straight away. You know what I mean? With all these filings for Bitcoin ETFs, right? It seems like to me they're not obviously going to approve it straight away. It seems like they're going to make all these institutions work for it, right? They're not just going to easily get it approved. That's what it seems like to me. So time will tell, but I reckon in the future, very soon enough, it's going to get approved, right? It's going to get approved. So the market this morning, right? The market this morning, it's looking pretty, it is in fact, this literally came out like around a few hours ago, like 5 hours ago, I want to say. And ever since then, we actually saw a fair few altcoins drop, right? And of course, Bitcoin drop as well, right? But as you guys can clearly see, for the past 24 hours, altcoins are actually pumping. Check out Litecoin. Let's have a look at Litecoin because that is pumping today. Litecoin is absolutely pumping. We know the Litecoin halving is obviously about to happen. Okay, I think it's going to happen in August. So that's literally a month away. It is in fact the 1st of July. Okay, today, guys. It's going to be, the last day for June for most of you guys that live in the US. But you guys can clearly see Litecoin is in fact pumping now above $100, $105. And it's pumping 24% for the past 24 hours. Litecoin right now is absolutely pumping up to the upside. You guys can see Bitcoin Cash is still continuing to pump up to the upside. You guys can see for the past 24 hours, it's up 21%. Bitcoin Cash, we know, has in fact been pumping for the past week, right? More than a week. It's been pumping. You guys can clearly see it's pretty much at $300 right now, which is absolutely insane. I remember seeing Bitcoin Cash when it was at like $106 like 2 weeks ago, and now it's at $300. So that's absolutely amazing to see for Bitcoin Cash. It seems like a lot of altcoins are in fact moving right today. Okay, this morning, I see Chainlink is up 5%. And yeah, a fair few altcoins are in fact pumping as well, right? You guys see Polygon 4%, Polkadot 2%, Solana 8%, Dogecoin 4%, Cardano 3%. So yeah, it's looking pretty good for altcoins. You guys can see Ethereum 3.8%, looking pretty good. You know, whereas Bitcoin in the other hand, you know, for the past 24 hours, it's slightly dropped. Obviously, right? It was at $31,000, but it's dropped because of this. Okay, but I want to show you guys a fair few charts. Okay, that, you know, Bitcoin, right? It is as of right now stuck at 30K. It seems like to me. You know what I mean? It seems like every single time Bitcoin does in fact, you know, bounce up to $31,000, it always has a breakdown back down to 30K, right? You guys can just clearly see that. Let me just go to Bitcoin real quick, right? You guys can just clearly see every single time, right? Bitcoin touches $31,000. We saw it right here, okay? We saw it right here. We saw one right here, and we saw one just recently, right? Every single time Bitcoin reaches or touches $31,000, it always comes back down, right? It always has a rejection and it comes back down, has a small correction back down to $30,000. So it seems like to me, Bitcoin is obviously, you know, stuck at 30K, but not for long. Okay, I really do believe not for long. Okay, Bitcoin will eventually reach back up to $31,000. And once, I've been mentioning this many times, once we actually see Bitcoin touch $32,000, right, reaching a new all-time high for this year alone in 2023, I think that is when, guys, we will in fact see the rally continue for Bitcoin, right? So you guys see this chart, okay, $35,000 is very, very, very possible for Bitcoin at this point, right? It's literally like a magnet. So 35K is very possible. It's going to be coming, right, for Bitcoin. I've been mentioning that many times for you guys, right? So that is in fact the next price target for Bitcoin, $35,000. And I do agree with that, right? Once we see Bitcoin surpass $32,000, that rally will in fact continue up to the upside. So we're going to see it go 33K, 34K, and of course $35,000, 100%. Okay, so Bitcoin is not stuck at 30K for long, right? Eventually it will bounce back up to 31 and reach a new all-time high to $32,000. We just have to be really patient here. So we know Bitcoin, okay, has in fact been forming this cup pattern. You guys can clearly see this curve and this little handle, right? When Bitcoin was in fact forming this downtrend, very slow downtrend to the downside, right? So it is in fact seeing like a little cup formation, right here. But you guys can clearly see eventually, right, Bitcoin's clearly breaking out of that right now. You know what I mean? Obviously, we know that happened a few days ago when Bitcoin was in fact pumping and getting out from this, you know, pumping out of this downtrend that we have in fact been seeing for the past few weeks, right? So that was absolutely amazing to see for Bitcoin. That happened, you know, a few days ago, right? So Bitcoin is now at $30,000, and like I said many times, once Bitcoin actually breaks this resistance line at, you know, $31,000, that's when we will really see Bitcoin pump, right? And that's going to be the next leg up. Okay, so $52,000, right? 50K. Been mentioning this many times. I do in fact see Bitcoin reaching 50K towards the end of this year in 2023. That is just my personal opinion, right? And I think that's very, very possible for Bitcoin. So time will tell. We will see. And this chart also just shows you guys and indicates that yes, Bitcoin is in fact stuck at 30K, but like I said many times, not for long. We will eventually see Bitcoin break out of this resistance line and, you know, reach a new all-time high of $32,000, and it will continue on from there. Okay, so it's looking pretty bullish for Bitcoin, right? It really, really is. Okay, and you guys can clearly see that Bitcoin, right, when we had these bull runs, okay, back in 2016, right, and 2017, you guys can clearly see Bitcoin was absolutely pumping, right? In 2017, I felt like that's when a lot of people were in fact accumulating and investing heavy into Bitcoin, because that year was an amazing year for Bitcoin, right? For the first time ever, because that's what we actually saw Bitcoin break out over $10,000 and reach, thousands of dollars, you know what I mean? Tens of thousands of dollars. We saw Bitcoin actually reach all the way up to around 19K towards the end of the year in 2017, right? When we were in fact in a bull market. We saw it go up to like $19,000, over 19K, almost 20K, right? And then obviously it had a rejection because we were in fact entering the next, bear market, right? But that was in fact a 4,000% return right there. You know what I mean? And then you guys can clearly see previously we had a 450% return right there as well, like pump, right, for Bitcoin. So what's going to be the percentage for, the next bull market, right? We will see, guys. But I think it's going to be well above 500%, probably even more than that, right? Time will tell, we will see. But it's looking pretty good for Bitcoin. You know what I mean? It really, really is. Okay, so we have already hit bottom, right? I told you guys that many times. Back in 2022, right? Around November, when we actually saw Bitcoin break down to around just below 16K, it was around 15.8, 15.7, I want to say. $15.7 thousand for Bitcoin. That was, in fact, its bottom. Like, its bottom. You know what I mean? Back in 2022, right? 2022. And obviously we know what happened in 2023 in January. Okay, we had this pump, okay, had a little rejection, and then we had another pump, right, in March. And then it was in fact having some small corrections down to the downside. And right now we are in fact seeing another pump. So it's literally just steps, right? Step one, we saw a pump. Step two, we saw a pump. Step three, right, it's going to be a massive pump up to the upside, it seems like, right? That's what this chart is in fact indicating. And it's indicating that what we saw back in 2020, right, is going to repeat to what we are seeing right now for, pretty much 2023, right? So 2022, you guys probably can't even see it, but right here, 2022, we hit bottom, okay? We had a one step and then got a little rejection, and then a two step, got a little rejection once again, and then a three step, and that's when we actually saw it pump. And just remember, we have the Bitcoin halving happening very, very soon, literally less than 1 year from now. We know what happens once we have the halving. Bitcoin, that's what Bitcoin really tends to pump the most, right? And of course, it's going to be reaching a new all-time high. That's what it always does. So you guys can just clearly see, it looks like the same pattern what we saw in 2020 will happen for this year in 2023. Okay, history, I told you guys a million times, I am in fact a believer of history, sort of repeating itself, rhyming. It's like clockwork, right? So time will tell, right? But it's looking pretty good for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still in the right path right now, okay, to reach these price targets of, $35,000, $40,000, $45,000, $50,000, $100,000, $150,000, and so on, right, in the next bull market. We just got to be really patient. So you guys can clearly see for this chart, right, all of 2022, I told you guys as many times, all of 2022, right, Bitcoin has dropped massively. You know what I mean? And for many reasons, you know what I mean? We saw a fair few crypto exchanges pretty much collapsing in that year, okay? And we saw, Terra Luna crashing as well. Who remembers? And that pretty much caused Bitcoin, and not just Bitcoin, but pretty much altcoins, the entire crypto market, to crash as well. So we saw a 40% crash right there. Okay, that was a amazing day to buy crypto, obviously. And then we saw a 27% crash right here, because we know what happened with FTX, right? FTX absolutely went bankrupt. They collapsed, right? That shut down. And that's why we saw Bitcoin have this massive crash in crypto, right? And that would have been an amazing time to buy, because that's when we actually saw Bitcoin drop all the way down to $15,000, which was in fact its bottom, right? So if you got on that in that time, congratulations, you caught the bottom, right? Now you guys can clearly see we're obviously breaking out of that right now. We're forming a new pattern up to the upside. We know all of 2022 Bitcoin was in fact forming this falling wedge, I want to say, and obviously it hit bottom right here, right? And obviously it's forming a new pattern up to the upside, right? So that's why I always tell you guys, we're not going to see Bitcoin drop all the way back down to like $20,000 ever again, or below $20,000, right? Because a lot of people are in fact assuming that we will in fact see that for Bitcoin, but no, that's never going to happen ever again in Bitcoin history. That's my personal opinion, right? Because we have already hit bottom, and clearly Bitcoin is forming a new pattern up to the upside, right? But I will say this, we're not 100% in a bull market just yet, obviously, right? Bitcoin is nowhere near its previous all-time highs, okay? And you know, we are not 100% just there yet, guys. Okay, I want to say we are in fact 100% in a bull market just yet, right? So time will tell, we will see. But since it's the first day of July, I've been telling you guys as many times that we will in fact end of June in the greens, like 110% will, and here we are. Okay, Bitcoin, okay, for June to end it off, it's up 11.75%. Okay, you guys can clearly see that 75% for Bitcoin to end off in June. Okay, ended off in the greens, which is absolutely amazing. I am happy with the returns for June. Okay, June has been actually a great month for Bitcoin for the first time in 3 years, right? But you guys can clearly see in 2022 it was down 37%, right? And the reason why Bitcoin dropped that much is because of many reasons, right? Like Terra Luna crashing and whatnot, and that caused Bitcoin to drop massively and just other altcoins. Okay, you have to see in 2021 it dropped like 6%, and then 2020 it dropped like 3%, right? So the previous 3 years we were in fact in the reds, right? But I'm just glad that 2023 this year for June, you know, we have a over 11% return, right? Almost 12% return, you know, for Bitcoin. You know what I mean? So that is absolutely amazing to see. And I told you guys many times that July should be a amazing month for Bitcoin. So it's now obviously the first day of July. So we will see what's going to happen with Bitcoin, you know, this month, right? But it should be a great month for Bitcoin because usually July, you guys can clearly see in previous years and whatnot, Bitcoin actually performs very, very well in July. So we will see, guys. Seems like Bitcoin will eventually reach these price targets of $35,000, $40,000. I think that's very, very possible in the next upcoming few weeks. But guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. More videos obviously will in fact be coming your way, so stay tuned for that. And I catch you guys all in my next video. Have a blessed day, guys.